until 4 o'clock. It's always fun when the sports professor comes on the show. Rick Horrow, we always appreciate him, and you can follow him on X or Twitter at Rick Horrow. Rick, welcome as always, man. Can you kind of figure out the financial impact right now for Dallas when they play the Big 12 Conference Championship game there with the Iowa State 20 to 30,000 people showing up and the ASU 20 to 30,000 people showing up?
Yeah, it'll be a big game. It'll be obviously very important for both of those teams and fan bases. And it's $50-60 million for a championship game.
Wow.
Usually it'll be even more than that now because people will probably stay in Dallas a little longer than they would have thought. And the bottom line is this is a game that is on the calendar as one of the biggest games in the history of Central Iowa. And I know Arizona State didn't expect this. It's a big deal, obviously.
So when you look at these conference championships bleeding into the tournament, if you will, Rick, and you look at the NCAA, look at the tournament, basketball tournament, now comparing it to this, what are the projections or metrics on part of comparing the amount of money in NCAA versus this tournament and these conference championships that are about to happen?
Well, I guess on a percentage basis, you could say the conference championships are important, but given the scope of the tournament, it's going to be less important. Look, it's going to be a big deal, obviously, in Indy for the Big 12 tournament, the Big 10 tournament. It's going to be a big deal in Atlanta, the SEC tournament, and obviously it's going to be a big deal for the other major Power Five. The problem is that at the end of the day, this is one of those things that may be a little lost over time because you're playing for seeding. You're not playing to get in or get out at the top levels, and I know that's important, and that'll be a big deal. And to win your conference is a big deal. But at the end of the day, the ACC basketball tournament, Duke wins it, North Carolina wins it, but then a week and a half later, people kind of forget it because the big thing starts. And I'm thinking that may happen here.
I was going to follow up on that. We've seen the politicking from the SEC. They already don't like the 13-person committee. Also, the committee has come out and said that, well, if SMU loses, even though they're in the championship game, they may not even be in the 12-team playoff. How is this going to affect everything, Rick? You cover the South and the SEC a lot. I'm just really curious about what you believe is going on here.
Yeah, it's a kind of a feeling out situation in the first instance because you're always going to have teams at the back end looking up. Down here, the fan base is exercised here in Miami over a 3-loss team, Alabama, who looks virtually certain to get in. The head of the committee already said teams can't improve during the bye week, basically, if you're not playing, and Miami's below them, so there's basically no way they get in, and that becomes a point of contention for the whole week. So there's a lot of people that are saying, let's not even worry about the championship games because it causes some consternation. So they're going to have to figure out how to tweak it.
Hey, we're going to back up. We saw these rivalries this past weekend, and your newsletter alludes to that with the flag planting brawls that we saw by Ohio State, Michigan, UNC, NC State, on and on and on. $100,000. How are they going to prevent it, and what other ramifications or consequences do you feel could negate some of this from preventing this from going on in the future?
Well, the 100,000 is one conference's solution. The SEC's is 500, 250, and 100 on the varying degrees of offenses. You can increase it based on severity. It's maybe one of those situations where the NCAA really kind of governs. They haven't governed with a lot of stuff recently, NIL or otherwise. So maybe this is one of those things where you put down minimum standards and you really enforce them. Because the flag planting is a quick way to disaster.
And on top of that, I heard some of the NCAA folks come out and say they're going to tape or film and whoever the instigators are, they would suspend them from a game. And if that game, the following game is, i.e., a national championship or it is a conference championship, I think that might have some teeth to it to suspend some of the individuals. At least that's what they're talking about for now.
Yeah, I mean that's one way to deal with it. I think suspensions more than fines, certainly get the players. The fines that the conferences have are more on the teams and the institutions themselves. Maybe it's time for a double dose. Maybe that's the only way this is going to work.
Rick, are you in favor of college basketball players shaking hands after a game?
I'm not sure it's automatic. It may be one of those things where, if two coaches are friendly and they want to do something about it, maybe. I kind of like the tradition. A lot of people do it in a very empty way. If there's a way to make it sincere, and of course there's not, but I like the tradition of the NHL folks shaking hands. But why does it only have to be after a Game 7 or after an elimination game? If you do it, you might as well do it all the time. Sure. If you don't, then don't. So I think there are a lot of reasons why this is a good example of sportsmanship, as long as it's sincere.
Yeah, our own Jimmy B here is against it. It's been our topic all day today, so I just wanted you to chime in. And so far, it's 99% do like the handshake afterwards. We believe in sports.
Jimmy B, what the hell is wrong with people shaking hands? Why? Because of AIDS? Or is it because of COVID?
No.
Or is it because, what's wrong with you?
I've never been a fan. Oh, no, my point of contention is what you just spoke about, that it only happens in the NHL when a team is eliminated in the playoffs or at the end of a championship game. My point was, in college basketball, when they stormed the court, those players that lost are like running for their lives. And I have seen fights break out in the handshake line after games, Rick, only in college basketball. I've seen it get unruly. So my point was, shake hands when you walk out to the center jump circle, and then it's over with, and then you play. That was my point.
I think it ought to be just a group hug. You group hug for like 5
and then sing a little kumbaya.
Kumbaya. Just love each other.
Hey,
right.
you're a you got ties to North Carolina and Duke. What are your thoughts on Bill Belichick being the new head coach there at the Tar Heels?
Oh, I find that very difficult to contemplate, but you kind of never know. I mean, it's one of those deals where maybe he wants a complete change of face, and he wants everybody to call him professor, and that would be kind of an interesting place where nobody expected him to go.
3. It's hard to believe that he is actually interviewing for that job. I wonder if his taste in the media to the level he's been in the last 6 months has changed the way that he does his day-to-day, because he doesn't come across as somebody that wants to handle transfer portals and NIL and everything else.
And talking to parents in living rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine Bill Belichick trying to recruit a kid and trying to suck up to the kid? It ain't happening.
No.
It ain't happening. Yeah.
Speaking of NIL, Rock brought a story a little bit earlier talking about how state legislatures might get in the way. There might be conflicts with the schools and the state legislator for this particular state and or states. This thing is crazy as it is. Well, if one state doesn't like it, another states go ahead and bring it and love it, like Alabama. Also, let's say Utah doesn't like it. Where's this thing going? Where's the fairness? Where's the level playing field going to happen?
Yeah, well, that's why you need federal or uniform regulation on all of this. You can't have one school do one thing, even if it's great, and another one not. It calls for a uniform solution, and hopefully there will be one soon.
Rick, we appreciate you all the time, man. Hope everything went well earlier today. And when the new housewarming party is open, when there's that open house, and you're going to fly us out there to Florida, we'll be on that first class flight out there. All right.
Yeah, you'll be. Oh, now it's first class. Yeah, you'll be some of the top 200, 300 people that I call. So, get ready.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Rick. That's Rick Horrow, the sports professor here on Rock and Manooch. with Jimmy B. You can follow him on Twitter X, of course, at Rick Horrow. So appreciate him coming on today, as he does once a week. Appreciate him today. He's brought to you by All City Towing. Join the team with the largest towing company in the state. And it's no question, it's All City Towing. So check them out at allcitytowing.com if you're ready to take your career to the next level. Allcitytowing.com, All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Bill Belichick, the next head coach.
I can't see that, guys. I
can't either.
cannot.
It's one of those things. Is it a legitimate report? I mean, but it is.
It is, yeah.
Why wouldn't you go back to the NFL, have a chance of breaking the all-time winning record?
Exactly. Yes.
I don't. Unless, to your point, Rock, maybe he's turned a new lease. Look, I'd rather go deal with the kids, the parents, NIL, and have complete control with their AD.
I think it's more along the lines as they're trying to build up the job, right? So their AD is saying, "Hey, Bill, do me a favor. Will you interview for this job?
There you go.
Just go through the steps,
yeah,
because it's going to make the North Carolina job bigger."
I see what you're doing.
I see where you're going.
I think the guy that has a good shot at getting it is Rich Rodriguez. He's got a championship game ahead of him. He's had an unbelievable career, 3 years at Jacksonville State.
Yep.
If it's not that, maybe he'll go to Purdue, get back into the Big Ten. That's a position or a job. You can only go up at Purdue, right?
That is correct.
So, I mean, there are other couple jobs out there too, but North Carolina is one of them.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean, you look at Rich Rod. I mean, Arizona, Michigan, West Virginia. Guy's got a hell of a resume.
And he's won at all of those
and he's
places.
62,
yeah.
so he's still
young enough.
Still there,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. Coming up, Charlie Regal is going to join us. We caught up with him earlier in the show. We're going to bring it back as he is in a hell of a mood, and we're going to catch up with him, talk about the Big 12 championship, talk about Kenny